What is going on, Rivian fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to go over some of the latest updates, technicals, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 14.23%. It did have a high already within the first 30 minutes of the trading day, $19.40. Huge amount of volume. So 21 million shares being traded, like I said, within that short span. And 40 is the average for the day. And this is largely because of them unveiling their numbers. So their figures for production and delivery. And as far as produced, 13,992 vehicles, 12,640 being delivered. So they did state as well that they're on track to deliver 50,000 vehicles by the end of the year, which in reality is epic news. Based on this, though, these are the Q1 numbers, roughly around 9,400 vehicles were produced in Q1 and almost around 8,000 vehicles being delivered in Q1. So based on this, it is fair to assume that yes, they are right. They are going to actually be hitting their target of 50,000 vehicles. I know that was a little bit low. Some people didn't really like that, meaning Wall Street. I think they wanted initially 60. And based on the Q1 earnings call from Rivian, they did say that Q4 is going to be absolutely epic. This is when they are going to ramp up significantly. So of course, I think once again, this is why I do feel that these numbers are correct and that it is on track to have that 50,000 target, which meaning they are that much closer to being productive. So of course, they did say that in 2024, they're actually going to be a full net positive company. So in general, I think that's a pretty good thing. On a side note, they did say August the 8th is going to be their quarterly earnings. So their conference, I'm going to be live streaming that as well. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. But I did show you this chart in the past and just shows overall the average age of a vehicle, the US vehicles, and it goes by type. So the cars, light trucks, and so forth. In reality, a lot of the typical average vehicles are getting really up there in age, meaning over the next several years or a couple of years, people are going to be replacing these vehicles and ideally with EVs, especially considering in the Q1 earnings, Rivian did say that there's a massive demand for their vehicles. So once again, I think this is going to be fairly good and might be just the tip of the iceberg potentially for the coming years. So let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. But over and above that though, as you can see right here, within the first roughly, like I said, 38 minutes of the trading day, there is $12 million in calls being purchased versus 1.32 million in puts. So even though it has gone up quite a lot today, people are still anticipating that Rivian is going to basically go to the moon. But when it comes down to options activity, it doesn't necessarily move the stock price, so just be aware of that. And as far as if you are looking at the options chain, or I guess the grid, so this is all the calls, strike prices, expiry dates. It is anticipated based on this that it'll be around the $18.50 to $19 range in the next couple weeks. So of course, I think that's a fairly good thing. As far as looking here, you do see a ton of big money getting into Rivian. So these are all the transactions. So the bid, the ask versus the selling price. So today is going to be a very popular day for Rivian, and I think that's a little bit more of an understatement. But a lot of people want to know what is coming next. How high could potentially Rivian go, or where I see things going, for instance. So starting off, looking at stochastic, because of this recent run up, which of course I think is fairly justified to some regard, it is causing the stochastic to have a very nice bullish sentiment behind the scenes, but at the same time, it is getting fairly hot. So if it does stay in this range for a while, it'll be considered overbought, cause it to go down, consolidate. And of course, I'll touch on some of the fib levels for the next big support and resistance points, but that's something that you need to factor in. Every time stocks do generally go up very fast as a result of news, sometimes it doesn't necessarily have the developed support that is needed. Looking here though, number of retail investors are just getting in. They're selling their dogs, their children, and they are buying Rivian. So it's kind of interesting to see that, because when Rivian, for instance, was at $12, it seems to have been nobody caring about it. It's very just backwards. And that's one thing I don't really understand about the whole stock market is during times when there's good fundamental companies such as Rivian, and when it was at 13, 14, even 14 and $12, like this was a steal of a deal, but yet you saw very little buyers. It was backwards, but yet at 19, you see everyone buying it. So a little bit more weird. But still, on a side note, as far as looking at some of the fib levels, with it being at $19.20, it is technically above all the fib levels looking at here. So looking at the 4-hour chart, it is basically above this R3. So that's the highest resistance point as of right now. So $19.02. So currently above that. So it's in a epic kind of boost up. But like I said, at the same time, this is why in reality it might need to consolidate back down a little bit, because with stochastic and the fib levels and all the other fun jazz. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of, for instance, looking at what shorts are doing, just as one more benchmark. Not necessarily saying that it's going to have a squeeze, but it's good to use these guys as another tool to look at. So right now, short score is currently 64, utilization is 31.02%. So looking here, shorts are surprisingly increasing 612,000 shares. So this is a very good indication that clearly based on this, they do not believe that, for instance, Rivian should be going up this much. And again, some of these calls might be, in fact, them hedging their bets as well. So just be aware that 14.39% of the free float is being shorted. 88.27 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow is just pennies, so 0.42%. So when it comes down to Rivian, I still do not feel that it is a squeeze play. So that's something that you need to factor in. But like I said, I do feel, and I kind of agree with the shorts a little bit, that this has gone up a little bit too fast, too high just for today. So I think in reality, it does need to consolidate down to around the 1850 range, in my own opinion, who isn't a financial advisor. So you guys always do your own due diligence. But even though it might be consolidating potentially, I do feel that these numbers kind of set forth the path for them to really go up high. Because even technically looking at some of the analyst ratings for Rivian right here, a lot of analysts have been very skeptical on the whole EV sector, and some of which have even been for Rivian. But based on this, you can see some of the recent ones. So 13 days ago was Muzo, Concord, and Trees, if I'm saying that right. So 27, 40, and 28. A lot of analysts do see that there is a lot of upside coming with Rivian. Even the average consensus right now is $21.93, which is still a 16% upside from here. And a lot of these numbers are very, very conservative, in my own opinion, of course, because even technically looking at, I think it was Goldman or Morgan Stanley, I believe, Adam Jonas is very bearish on Rivian, but yet him being bearish, he still gave a $24 target. So once again, I do feel that there's a huge, immense amount of upside for Rivian that potentially could, in fact, see the 20s, maybe even 30s just in 2023 alone, especially like I said, with ramping up significantly on their production and delivery numbers by Q4, or in Q4, I guess. That is going to be very good for the stock price. But like I said, it's a risk versus reward, right? Stocks go up very fast. Sometimes they get pulled back down very fast. So just be cautious, but I do feel that based on these numbers, like I said, it is really setting forth their trajectory for all of their operations. So let me know you guys' thoughts on all of this in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Take advantage of some free promos, and that is with Moomoo. This promo has been extended until I think it is July the 15th. So sign up for a free account, you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, and as you can see, throw $100 at the account and you do get 5 free stocks plus a $100 cash reward. So this is legitimately the best promo that you can get. It is a free promo, and link in the description below and also the comments to this. So once again, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Rivian.